All right, I'm just going to read through this whole list. This is the door handle locks. And you tell me who you think may be the most susceptible to not making it, and who am I not giving enough credit for? They're more than a door handle lock that these guys are getting in the Hall of Fame. So the list is Tyreek Hill, Trent Williams, Levante David, Jalen Ramsey, Chris Jones, Mike Evans, and Tyron Smith, who technically not on a team right now, but still in the NFL.
So you're asking me who out of this list could have a fall from grace?
Who's most likely? We're sitting here in a decade from now, and we're like, this guy's not in yet?
You'd have to tell me how the DB market works, but maybe Jalen Ramsey. But also, if Tyreek Hill doesn't show up and be Tyreek Hill this year, we're looking at a guy who burned extremely bright for a few years. Did he burn bright enough in those years? In my opinion, he did. But then you take a look at his all-time receiving yards. You got him at 42nd all-time. And, 7th best single-season receiving yards. It's not like he was even a top 5 all-time season.
See, he's the kind of player.
And there's a lot going on
there. Yeah, that's if he doesn't make it, I think it'll be more because of that. I mean, they didn't let Terrell Owens in for a few years, right? So it's going to be more because of that than anything else. But he's the type of player that, at least in my opinion, I trend more towards for Hall of Fame. That guy
he burned bright. He won championships.
The best. He was the best. Like he was undoubtedly. He had a stretch where no one debated who the most impactful offensive weapon was in the NFL was Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
It just was. For a multi-year stretch there, he had the 7th best single-season receiving yard figure all time, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team, 8-time Pro Bowler, and just a different caliber that changed the game in some ways on his own. So I think he's the type of guy that you're putting in. To me, the most susceptible, purely because he doesn't have the traditional accolades that you usually put a guy in the Hall of Fame for, and because he's at a logjam in his position. It's Levante David, the Bucs linebacker. He will be, after this
plenty of linebackers waiting to hear.
Yes. He will be 4th all time in tackles after this season. Ray Lewis, London Fletcher, and
Derek Brooks.
Derek Brooks, the only ones better than him in that regard after this season.
No, wait.
He's like 13 behind 4th.
So I hate that London Fletcher's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry that we're even having to bring up my guy London Fletcher, but it's funny that when they're referencing tackles, when they're referencing stats, comparing the greats of the position, Fletcher's name is on that little parentheses, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's a shame. It's criminal. But as you put so eloquently, there is a logjam at the linebacker position.
And the reason why he has 1 Pro Bowl, 1 first-team All-Pro, and 2 second-team All-Pros is because he was in the exact same draft, in the exact same conference as Bobby Wagner and Luke Kuechly. The only other 2 Hall of Famers from that era of linebackers played in his conference from the exact same draft class. So every single year where Levante David was awesome, he doesn't even make the Pro Bowl because there's 2 other guys there in front of him. And then also we call these edge rushers off-ball linebackers for Pro Bowl purposes. So I'm not holding that against him whatsoever. If you don't take that context into play when looking at Levante David's career, that's on you. He was, over that span, I mean, he was undoubtedly the 3rd best linebacker in the NFL. Yeah, I'm not going to say he was better than Bobby or Luke in their primes. He wasn't. He was the 3rd best, though, for a large stretch of that. And he was awesome for the Bucs. He won a Super Bowl. He's still doing it at 35 years old. His longevity is unique at the position, too. Like, I think he's reached that point for the linebacker position where that's a feather in his cap that you would use in Hall of Fame voting. So the other 2 guys are lock Hall of Famers. I'm putting Levante David in, but if he wouldn't make it, it would not surprise me, unfortunately. I think the other interesting one, though, is Chris Jones, because he's not going to have a ton of stats at the DT position. Only 6 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros, 3 second-team All-Pros. They've basically been the past 6 years. But 3 Super Bowls, and every single one of those was like a Chris Jones. Like, there was none of those where Chris Jones didn't show up big in the playoffs, basically.
Yep.
I think he's got to be in, given what he's done over his career.
Well, when you think about all the things they do to stop Tyreek Hill offensively and schemes and people, Same thing with Chris Jones at the line of scrimmage. But, the layman doesn't get to enjoy it like we do because, it's in a tight little spot. You don't get to see it. Chris Jones dominates. He's been dominant. He's won Super Bowls. He's been the best, or if not, the second best player at his position. And now that 99's out of the league, 95 has had the opportunity to really showcase that he's the guy.
Yep. All right, let's get to the deadbolt locks. The guys who they're in. They could retire right now. They're in, but they may not be first ballot just because of how the committee operates and whatnot. But these guys are in. They're Lamar Jackson. You might think it's crazy, but a guy who's won 2 MVPs is getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
It's going to happen. He could retire right now. He'd be in the Hall of Fame. Von Miller, 16th all-time in sacks, Super Bowl champion, 2-time, 129.5 sacks for his career. He's in. Myles Garrett, defensive player of the year, 4-time first-team All-Pro. Another guy where it's like he burned bright enough. He could retire right now. He's in. TJ Watt, he's in. 108 sacks, 31st all-time, 4-time first-team All-Pro, defensive player of the year, 7-time Pro Bowler. He's in. And then finally, Lane Johnson may not have the pure accolades, only 2 first-team All-Pros, 3 second-team All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowls, but he has 2 Super Bowls, and he was
the best,
the man in those 2 Super Bowl runs. And another team where if you have multiple Super Bowls and you're kind of on a team that has stretched that the way the Eagles have had, you get even a little bit more deference. I don't even think Lane Johnson needs it. He's been a top.
Doesn't even need any butter or salt. You just, that meat will do.
Yeah. Those ones we don't need to debate. Here's the one that's the fun one. I call these the weird cases.
These are weird.
But they all have some Hall of Fame arguments. We're going to start with Justin Tucker, who is the weirdest case right now.
And about 12 months ago, this wouldn't be in the weird cases category.
This might have been in the first ballot category. But obviously, multiple sexual assault allegations against him over the past 12 months. He's kind of become a pariah of sorts, looked on, and for good reason. But he is the most accurate kicker in NFL history. He has the record for the longest field goal in NFL history. He has been held up until this past season, until about a year ago. He was the best kicker of all time, full stop. I mean, still, like, his prime was still the best kicking of all time. It just was. Outdoor, in a fully outdoor division, mind you. The most difficult division to kick in the NFL. AFC North, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Hardest division in the NFL. He was in his entire career and still the most accurate kicker of all time. He is the GOAT. But for reasons we've already enunciated, could be on the outside looking in. We don't have to spend too long in it. Just a weird case that we had to mention.
The next one's weird in a good way.
Cordero Patterson is very weird in a good way. We allowed Devin Hester allowed. We gave Devin Hester the honor because he was the best punt returner of all time. I think that means something. That guy should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, Cordero Patterson is the best kick returner of all time. Full stop. Better than Devin Hester. Say what you want to. Argue with someone else. 29 yards per kick return. The most in the Super Bowl, the highest figure in the Super Bowl era for anyone with at least 100 kick returns. The most kick returns of all time by a wide margin. 9 kick return touchdowns compared to 6 is second place for kick returns. And he returned kicks in an era where the NFL actively tried to take the kick return away. 2011 was when they moved the kickoff from the 30 to the 35 to incentivize touchbacks. Cordell Patterson's first year is 2013. Then in 2016, they moved the touchback from the 20 to the 25. And then they just moved it to the 30 last year. Obviously, most of his damage was done in the mid-2010s. But they actively tried to make it harder for guys to return kicks, and Cordero Patterson was still the GOAT. In my eyes, that's Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, you got to put him in the Hall of Fame. I had the pleasure of being teammates with Cordero Patterson. What a fantastic dude. So much bigger than you think. He is a literal horse. And when he runs by you, you've heard Edelman discuss or describe what it's like being on the field with Gronk and how Gronk just comes like trotting by you like a Clydesdale. That's Cordero Patterson. I just remember all the different ways we tried to utilize him on offense. I think John Fox was the head coach at the time. So it would have been Adam Gase, I think, was the OC. But yeah, CP, man. There's a couple guys that you play against or with that you watch when it's their time to do something. It's CP. Everybody was off the metal benches and watching our guy return kicks.
All right, and then the last one here. Calais Campbell.
Go!
Hall of Fame voice at minimum. But he is now in his 18th season in the NFL as the third most all-time for a defensive lineman. All time. And I don't think this guy's slowing down. I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. He might touch the record. 20 is the record. He might get to it. He's a one-time first-team All-Pro, two-time second-team All-Pro, six-time Pro Bowler, 2010s All-Decade team, 110.5 sacks for a guy who played a lot of his career at defensive tackle. That's a massive number. Now, obviously, per season, it's not a massive number, but still a massive number for a defensive tackle. I think there's a world where if he plays 3 more seasons, and obviously that's crazy. He's 38 years old. But if he plays to 40, he's getting in. I'm putting him in. What a career that would be.
There's certain outlier statistics, like the Cordero Patterson conversation. He is the best kick returner of all time. So he's got to go in because there's got to be a place in the Hall of Fame for the best version of something.
Yes.
This guy was the best at having longevity. And not only, it wasn't just like he was the 53rd man on the roster. No, Calais Campbell has been, the banner man for whatever defense he's on. He's the guy that rallies the troops before, they run out of tunnel, and the camera's right behind him pregame. And he's 40 years old. Okay. It's unbelievable. I just think his technique, his length, and his smarts lend itself to a long career because he can play with guys off of him. He plays a lot of his game at the line of scrimmage. He's not in here trying to dent the pocket. He is a block. He is just putting his hands up and saying, you can't throw here. You can't run here either because I can grab you. He's done it for so long.
I think if he retired right now, didn't play this season or fell off the season, it would be, I bet he wouldn't get in. But if he keeps up, because the other crazy thing is he's a quality starter still.
Yep.
Not just, like you said, not just a fun story. The guy's in there playing 600 plus snaps at a high level. If he does that for at least this season and 1 more, I think he's for sure in. If he does it for 3 more, lock. Your first ballot. Those are your weird cases. Your first ballot, and then we can get out of here. We didn't even have to debate these. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Travis Kelce, Bobby Wagner, and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the one who might be the most controversial on the list. He's in. That guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. You cannot convince me otherwise. He has the 5th most rushing yards in a single season all time and the 11th most rushing yards in a single season all time. That is the highest combination of the top 2 seasons ever. Only Barry Sanders has 2 top 15 rushing yard seasons.
Wow.
So that is the company that he's in. And he played on some horseshit Tennessee Titans teams. Carried them. Team. Truly. Somehow only 1 first-team All-Pro, but 3 second-team All-Pros. Was the 2-time rushing leader. And that's not even one of those years that he had one of the top 12 seasons all time. 3-time touchdown leader. Derrick Henry is a first-team Hall of Famer in an era where the running game was gone. Derrick Henry, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, there's a handful of guys in the league, and we're looking at them right now over the course of the last decade, where it's like, what's coming. Can you stop it? And it was the same thing with Aaron Donald when he played. It was like, you're just not going to be able to block him once you get to 3rd down. I mean, sure, you could double team him in the run, and we can put 8 in the box against Derrick Henry. He's still going to get 4.5 at bare minimum. The guy is just special. It's been such a pleasure to watch him play, and we're so lucky that he has taken care of his body so well that he is still in exceptional shape, and there's no signs of slowing down for the Baltimore Ravens in that running attack.
That is the other thing. It's like, given how much of a sheer freak he is, given how insane he's been to this point in his career, who's to say at 31 years old now, he doesn't play to 34, 35 and just, I don't want to say not miss a beat. Obviously, it's going to be difficult not to, but 1,000-yard seasons for the next 3 to 4 seasons.
He's never been a guy that relies on flat-out speed. And I'm not saying he's slow, because when he does get out into the open field, he can pull away. But his game is vision. His game is strength, and his game is just
that offhand.
The running back of the prototypical running back.
Yeah, And first career now, 4.9 yards per attempt. Sheesh. I mean, he's
4.5 at least. There we go.
First ballot Hall of Famer.